In my last video, I showed you guys how I use Claude Opus 4.6 to build trading strategies using a trading engine for assistance, and it boosts the results massively. Now, if you haven't watched that video, I can just run through it extremely quickly. I use my trusty little trading engine right here, and these are pretty simple to build. There are a lot of pre-packaged Python imports that you can use to get and simulate backtest results, and all you would need to do is download the training data you need. And by asking my Claude Opus 4.6 right here, what I want it to do is to research and build strategies for me and then test them using my engine, and then which the engine optimizes it, finds the best settings, and then stress tests it so it runs all the robustness checks too. What I actually was able to get from that is a bunch of different tables here. So I have all of these different results that I got in. There are 4 or 5 different ones that I have. This is just one of them, and these are 4 or 5 completely different strategies. These on screen here, the green and the red, are different parameters, and that's important because the little bit of difference in parameter set, you'll look at the out of sample data and the bootstrapping, it's radically different. So this is an example of a strategy that it has a lot of drawdown, and I'm going to show you what that looks like with the out of sample data. It's going to get arguably even worse. And this is what the out of sample data looks like. So 30% drawdown, and they're functioning pretty stably. Now, I don't like this because the training data had 150% net drawdown, of course, so I wouldn't use this one, but this is just an example. I'll show you the next one. Here's another example of 2 different parameter sets that it found, and it did the stat check on them here. So I have all of the bootstrap training results, how many simulations it passed or failed. And these are what the bootstrap simulations look like. So the graph is a little bit different because there are different simulations. This is just one of those simulations showing on screen with 2 different parameter sets. So if we look at the parameter set that had a lot more trades here, the green one, we're not expecting it to perform extremely well when we jumble up the candlesticks, but we just don't want it to collapse into oblivion. This was one, and I'll show you one of the best performers that came out of this test. Now, these were just random strategy exits that Claude Opus was able to hypothesize and research for me and then test. So we're actually able to see if there's any configuration it has, any parameter that it could find that was actually good. So these ones were not, but I'm going to show you the best one next. I just want to quickly ask you guys to drop a like on the video. I notice a lot of you aren't liking the video, so just like the video. It really helps boosting the algorithm. Give a little bit more watch time, watch through the video. And I know that a lot of this stuff is a little bit dry. There's statistics, but I'm trying to make it as engaging as possible. So I'd really appreciate if you hit that bell notification icon as well. So the thing is that ChatGPT was able to help me build this strategy over the last year or so. And also, Claude Opus 4.6 is just as good, if not far better, especially with using a strategy engine. So these are some of the results that I've been using this configuration on Ethereum, the 10-minute chart with only 12% max drawdown. And these are flat order sizes as well. So comparing the 1,300% net profit, comparing that to the plus 696% buy and hold, it's double the buy and hold, which is pretty good with a very, very low risk. And that's what I optimized for. I tried to minimize my net drawdown, and the total P&L after that that's the afterthought. Yes, more profit is good, but typically we want to maximize those Sortino ratios, Sharpe ratios, and drawdown. So how can you build a strategy just like this one on screen? I'm going to show you right now in this video. That is the theme of today's video. We're going to build it in PineScript, and we're going to use Claude Opus 4.6. And I'm using Droid. I've mentioned this before. It does boost the productivity of Claude Opus 4.6, so you get a little bit better results with it. And if you want to install Droid, the factory website is factory.ai, and you can read about it here and install it for yourself. And as well as if you don't want to build your own strategy, you can subscribe to this one right here that's on screen. It's at You can subscribe to it at wop.com/trade-tactics. And I have some of the settings here as well in my Discord server. The link's down in the description. It's in the best bot settings tab, and then the link to the bot is right here with a bunch of different parameter sets. Now, in the future, I'm going to be using the Signal Swap marketplace for listing my bots right now. I've been building this website out, and I've mentioned it in previous videos. So if you want a rundown on that, just go watch one of my last videos. But in general, the marketplace is where I'm going to have my huge Discord community. People can list their bots right here for free and claim the vast majority of the profit that the bots generate from it, from subscriptions. And of course, they can share good bots because this website only uses real performance data from the trading bots. So live signals are the ones that produce these graphs. There's no backtesting other than the backtest on the website, which we have to audit, and it does the stress test like what I'm showing you in this video today. So right now the website is locked. It's signalswap.io, but if you want to set up a bot and test it out, it's in the final steps before release. So alpha testing is alive. I have a couple alpha testers already. If you want to come and alpha test it, one of the best features, join the Discord and just ping me and ask for access. I'll grant you access to the website that way. And the best feature of this website is that you can just drag and drop your PineScript strategies here, and it will do the optimization for you at high speed and stress test it. So it will randomize candlesticks, run it through simulations, and then if it passes, then you can get a check mark and it adds it to the marketplace. So you know that, number one, your bot is stress tested and more likely to succeed in real time than otherwise. And other people, if you publish it to the marketplace, will know that you have that badge of honor as well, because it is really hard to build a reliable and robust strategy. But that's all what the channel is. This is the entire purpose of this YouTube channel and why you're probably listening right now. So what we're going to do with Claude Opus, I'm just going to start the prompt right now. I'm asking it to build me a PineScript strategy, but what I want it to do is to research trading white papers that are published on specifically statistics and robustness for what are other people doing in the literature, really high level firms, prop firms. And I've asked it to guide me in decisions, and then it will build it for me. And once I'm done with this, I can drag and drop it into the signal swap just to quickly optimize it, and it does thousands of backtests per second. So whatever we get, we can drop right in here for the results. And I'm not going to do that in this video because right now the server is not working currently. I'm getting it up next week though, so subscribe if you want to see some more content on this. I will show this live for how it performs once it's back up and running. All right, so we're going to do a mean reversion strategy. Claude Opus asked me 4 questions. It asked me what type of strategy I want, trend following, mean reversion, etc. So just for the example today, we're going to do mean reversion, and the 3 criteria I gave it were it has to have a strategy backbone, how we enter the trades. And then the number 2 thing is we need to have some trade filters that turn off trading because sometimes the market gets a little bit choppy. We can't be trading all the time. And the last thing is that we need to have some way to exit our trade. Now, we could flip directions, that's one way, but if it happens to be profitable to just take that profit a little bit earlier, that's always preferable, and then wait to re-enter when we end up switching directions. So we're doing some research right now, and we're going to tab out of this. And I just really want to hone in on this. If you watch this channel, I've said this before, but when you're doing backtests, you don't just want to select and tune your strategy on all of the data, on the entire history. If you have TradingView Premium or Pro, you will have the option to click entire history, and it's definitely tempting to do so. But if you don't have TradingView Pro, if you're not paying for it, you don't get that deep backtest feature. But the thing is, you really do want to use all of the data because it's extremely valuable. But what you want to do is run your parameters, tune it the way that you like it until you have enough low enough drawdown, high enough Sharpe ratio. One of my favorite metrics is the Sharpe ratio and Sortino ratio down here. So higher numbers of these are always better. But the thing is, just tune it on like 50 or 60% of the data, all of the data to the left of the screen. And then on the right side, just save some data, withhold it, and then just do a backtest on that little snippet of data at the end, just to verify that it still performs well on data that hasn't been seen. Because if you adjust all your parameters the way you like them on all the data, you're just fitting it to that data. You don't know how it's going to perform in data that it hasn't seen. That's why we do the out of sample testing. And while Claude Opus is still spinning up, I just want to touch on this. This is the training data. Now, this data goes all the way to 2026 currently, but this graph only goes until around 2021. You can see on the far right here, 2021, 0622. Now, the purpose for that is because the rest of the data, a couple years of data, are withheld for our testing phase. This is the out of sample test. So this is what that looks like. This is unseen data that the strategy has it's blind to it. So as soon as you configure your parameters before, you have no data leakage. That is the number one rule in statistics, is not to leak data, because that is peaking and that's a big. So if you want your strategy to be robust, that is the key secret ingredient. Number one. That is the number one rule of the channel. And I will just keep hammering that in. That and never use high sheet candles in your backtest. Those are the number two rules. So with that said, the bootstrap simulations, I'm just going to select a bootstrap simulation just to show you what they look like in this one. And the strategy doesn't go completely to zero. In fact, this actually made some profit in this bootstrap simulation, meaning we randomize the candlesticks, and of course, there you have it. Still have reliable results. Now, this green line is a different parameter set than the red line, and then I also have bootstrap training and testing. So I have even more candlesticks that I've withheld, even more. And I'm telling you, this is what you have to do to be able to build a reliable strategy. And look at that, still profitable. It made 165% net profit and still held up. The win rate isn't going to be as high as the data you trained on, because there's a little bit of distortion. It's unseen data, but the thing is, it's still performing. And that's the key. Now on the left hand side here, you have the drawdown, which time periods the drawdown happens. Did you make a comeback or not in that drawdown? And in this one, we were able to make a comeback and actually make some net profit. So I have more of the data here. And then the last thing is the final out of sample test that I have here. This one, unfortunately, I'm not going to run the strategy live. You can see here a couple parameters. I'm not going to run it live because of this. This is the final step, the final 20% of data that I withheld, and it was not profitable. Meaning, it looked good in the first couple tests, but the first inkling of doubt that I had was that it had a pretty high drawdown in just the training phase. So that's a hint that maybe in truly out of sample data, you're not going to have the best results. And so that's just the lesson here. Now, I ran this completely. This strategy was built 100% by Claude Opus. The strategy exits, that is. And so the take profit levels, everything was configured, and the logic, this was mean reversion or ATR, it looks like, and didn't work out. But, we can come back to our current Claude. So it's made its choices. It has a z-score mean reversion strategy, 3 different flat filters, and then the exit condition, which is the RSI mean reversion exit, which is, compatible with our z-score entry backbone. And because we're using, Claude Opus directly in our terminal here, which is, just beautiful if you're coding, it's going to whip it up and I'll ask it to launch it. I'm going to copy and paste it directly into TradingView. So if you're new to using Anthropic, this is the main website right here. But the thing is, for coding, you probably shouldn't be using this terminal here. Yes, there is a code button here, but it's just not as good as having access to your computer and being able to build an entire library of files right on your machine. So that's why I personally recommend using Visual Studio Code and then plugging in Claude Code to it. Super easy to set up. And honestly, everyone who's coding right now is either using Claude Code or ChatGPT, the new version of ChatGPT, in the same interface as this. That is the two big ones. But I really want to showcase exactly how powerful it can be. So now that it's done, we're going to open up our TXT file. It's going to launch it for us right here. I'm just asking it to pretty please launch the file. And a subscription to Claude Opus can cost you as little as $25 a month. I think $20 or $25 for the pro subscription. And if you're upgrading to the max subscription, yes, it's a lot more, $100 or something like that US. But the thing is, look at this strategy. It's built it all. This is a lot better than the output of what I've been able to get with just using, normal ChatGPT at, chatgpt.com. So I'm going to copy it. We're going to see if it has any errors. So I've pasted it in TradingView and then hit add to chart. So this is exactly the output that I got. I'm also going to just quickly share this in the Discord server if you want to pick this up for free. I'm just going to throw it in there for learning purposes if you want to follow along. So the Discord link is down in the description. It's free to join. Hit working scripts right here, this tab, and then this area right here, the full scripts. I'll just paste it in right here. So just look for the mean reversion test script using Opus 4.6. I'm just going to give it a little react right there. Now, the thing is, I could tinker with these settings. I noticed that, the default settings, I could just keep tinkering with these. I noticed that the filters actually help a lot, like these flat filters that I added in, which really help out. And there is the optional stop loss, which let's see if any of these have any impact at all. I could probably tinker with them for a while, but an even better thing I could do is head over to SignalSwap, and all I would have to do on signalswap.io is hit this button here, paste the script, and then just submit the script right there. You can see that it finds all of the adjustable entries right here in the PineScript itself. Now, all of these, I can adjust these settings, and it's going to test everything in between them. So I could test it on any coin, any exchange that we have here, and then there we go. So right now, again, this would be 65,000 backtests, and it's going to stress test them, meaning every single one of them has to go through the environment of in-sample data, out-of-sample data, and then Monte Carlo simulations, as well as one final for super hard stress test. So that is, the easiest way to do it. Just drop the PineScript in and then click start backtest. So if you want to alpha test, this feature is currently limited. It's not available until the server's up, but it will be soon. So by the time you watch this video, the backtesting server might be fully configured and available. So, and the output of this gives you a little pretty graph, kind of looks like this. Not exactly, it's a little bit different color scheme, but pretty much the exact same idea where you have, the training data, testing data, out of sample stuff. And so there, you have it. So I could sit here and, manually, I'd have to adjust the date, only do a certain amount of data, 60% of the data, withhold some. You can't Monte Carlo simulate in TradingView though. That's one of the weaknesses. So you can't, download all the candlesticks and then jumble them up, randomize them. But what I do like, Opus 4.6 did build this strategy and there wasn't any errors. I'll tell you that. Now, a lot of the time, there have been a lot of errors in, ChatGPT will give you code and then the PineScript just doesn't work. Opus 4.6, I'm going to tell you, this one-off one just really worked. There's plots and, a bunch of different settings here. Pretty complicated strategy that it made in one shot. This is just the first prompt. I can adjust any of these as needed, but pursue strong model that I'm really proud of how far it's come. So I'll wrap up the video there, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. A lot of you guys aren't liking the videos. I put a lot of effort into this content, into what I'm building here. So if you want to follow along for that journey and see what I do next, where I show, the backtesting module once it comes online, I'll build some more strategies and share them with you guys. And yeah, you can find that strategy in the Discord, and you can also become a beta or alpha tester for signalswap.io. Just join the Discord and shoot me a message and I'll add you in. You can grab this strategy if you want to tinker around with it as well. And, play around with your own Claude Opus if you have a subscription for it. And that's all for the video. I'll see you in the next one.